So as we get started this morning, I want to welcome you in. Today's topic for our webinar series is going to be setting up communication between a Cognex Insight camera and an Allen Bradley RSlogix PLC. Our presenter today is going to be Mr. Austin Percival. He has graciously agreed to set this up for us and go through the setup procedures. I'm going to be moderating. My name is Cale Harbor. I'm the product manager at ACS, and I will be watching the active chat window. If you have any questions that come up during the presentation, please feel free to post it on the chat, and I will be feeding that to Austin as we move forward. So with that being said, Austin, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. What I want to talk about today is the software that we're using is Studio 5000, and we're going to use Insight Explorer 5.8 as our software. Once you download Insight Explorer 5.8, they give you some pretty cool files. If you go to your C drive, program files, Cognex, Insight 5.8, factory protocols, you actually see they give you some EDS files, and they also give you some sample logic here too that you can bring in. Today we're just going to cover just the basics of just the EDS files and getting the communication going here. So what you want to do is once you find these files, you're going to open up your Rockwell Automation hardware install tool. And when you get into there, you're going to hit add here. You're going to copy that path that you have here and paste it into here. One of the key things I always try to do here is make sure you look in registered directory for EDS files and look in all subfolders. So I'll make sure it goes through everything inside there and kind of pulls it through. And you'll see that it found all your files there. So what that does, once you get back in the studio here, let me get rid of these windows. In your program tree, this will be more blank for you guys, but you'll be able to come now into your Ethernet module and click in to say you want to import a module. You can come through and you can do that through there. Or what you can also do is come through and just add a new device. Well, that's going to give you this Cognex camera down here. So once you get inside of there, pop this guy open for you, you'll be able to kind of see what your module properties are inside of here. Different data types you're going to have. You can also come through and you can see what your port configuration is and what your internet or your internet protocol, which I guess Ethernet protocol is kind of my default there. You're going to want to set that to what your camera is set up inside of your Insight program. You're also going to get some really cool user-defined data types here. What these are just going to be some pre-set up tags by Cognex that kind of define your tags and give you some good names and good values of that. And when you get into the program, that's going to become pretty crucial because what we're going to do is we're going to see that we're going to take the raw data from the camera that we're seeing through this Ethernet module. And we're actually going to copy that over into these predetermined tags to give you a nice little interface. So as we go to monitor tags here, we're going to give you a look. So this will be more of your raw data here. And then when you come down, you can also come through and see that your Insight in will give you more of your defined tags here with your inspection results. And then they'll also give you some status. So you can use these status bits to be able to pull your trigger readies. Are you online or not? And just a few other things like that. And that's kind of the basics there. So what we can do here is we'll switch over to the Cognex side of it.
Hey, Austin.
Yep.
We did have a question come in from the chat room. What Allen Bradley PLC are you using this morning?
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry about that. It's actually an L16, so it's kind of the basic compact logics. Let's see if I can show you here. Sorry, it's my first webinar here, so I'm learning the good old controls. So just a simple, it's got your I/O modules built onto it. It's an Allen Bradley L16 with a bunch of other letters after it. All right, put that back down there. So inside of the Cognex software, when you set up your image in the beginning, when you're kind of going through, we have some other webinars on this too. You want to make sure once you go online with Allen Bradley, you're going to want to make sure your trigger is set up to industrial Ethernet. Once that's set up to industrial Ethernet, you'll be able to go online with the camera, and that will let the PLC take over your triggering control. We'll get into that here in a second. And also in your communication, you're going to go into here and you're going to click on an Ethernet IP, and you're going to add a device. It will scroll down and say, hey, Allen Bradley PLC is what you're using. What's that's going to do? That's going to allow you to be able to add in different tool sets here. So if I go offline, I'll be able to click add. So you got your different tools here. I just have some simple blob tools looking for these holes to be there or not. So if I go into blob 1, I can actually see all these different values that I can get. And so I just clicked on, just the pass and the fails, just to get us some basic stuff today for the video. So we'll go back online here. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward there. Nothing too crazy. Now let's set this dude up. Try to make sure you guys can see the values too. Okay. So once you get into the program, and just a forward thing here too, programming is one of those advanced things that every controls engineer has their own idea of how they want to do it. So don't take this as the way you have to do it. These are just some general basic ideas of, how the Allen Bradley software works with the Cognex camera. Just to help get you guys started. I know some of the hardest things as controls engineers, getting things set up on the network and getting things going. So hopefully this can help you guys out a little bit. So what I did here was I just took a simple GSV statement, kind of pulling off my module status. So I know that that's a good status. So I'm just looking for that to be equal to that, to know that my communication is good. And also to be redundant, I'm looking at the communication to be faulted or not from the camera. So once I have my comms okay, I'm able to take that bit and say, hey, now I'm ready to start pulling my raw data, which is this tag right here, into my determined tag that came in from my EDS file, which is called the UDT. So that's going to pull it in to give you that nice user interface. And then we're also going to take in that nice user interface that we have for the outputs. So that will be the output tags that we have. And we're going to send that back to the camera to give that raw data back. So we're just doing these copy files here for that. And we're also going to say that we want to enable our trigger to make sure we're ready. So we can do here next is I have a part index. So that's just going straight into the that UDT that we set up, communicating with that raw data to the Cognex camera. So as we trigger back and forth, we can see that if I pull this part out and place it here, I'll blind you guys with my head there. You're able to see that now we missed a hole there. So we got a fail on our hole pattern here, but we did pass the other two. So we counted up as a 1 here. We had a 1 from our last trigger that we had. I'll replace that back here. Use my sticky notes as guides. We'll trigger again, then we'll see that we passed on all 3 holes that time. Then also indexed us up to say that we had another pass there. So what I'm doing, all I'm really doing here is I'm just taking the OTE, the output of the pass and fail signals that I'm getting. So I took that tag that we have for the inspection results, and I've made it kind of an alias here and just said, hey, this is my whole pattern 1 pass. This is my whole 1 pattern fail. And I'm just kind of setting up simple outputs here to fire back to kind of put some logic in that says, I need to have all 3 of these for so long to be able to pass. And then if I don't have, any of them, then I failed. Kind of show you guys here a little bit more too on what this looks like here. Bear with me, I'm a little bit rusty. It's been a few years, my controls experience here. So we go back into this inside in, which is that UDT that we brought in. We'll kind of show you the raw values here, moving back and forth here. So you'll see that we started at value 8 here. And as you see, as I pull this guy out, put him in. Let's try to see if we can. So now we'll see that we had our values change there. So we saw a pass, pass, and then a fail. So we come back down here, we can see that actually now 18 is now a 1 instead of 16 being on. And that's pretty much the basics behind this. I didn't want to get too advanced with it. I just kind of wanted to keep it simple for you guys. Just show you a basic understanding of how this kind of works. You can do a lot of other cool stuff, strings and all kinds of other advanced things here. You can also come in here and into Cognex, and you can set up down below here to pick what kind of data types and size you want to have and how you want them to come in, which is pretty cool too. It's got a lot of features here, and we just try to keep it a little bit simple for you today. And if anybody has any questions, let me know. We can start fielding those here. I can play with this a little bit too to help you guys out understand a little bit more.
Hey, Austin.
Yep.
We had another question come in on where to find the EDS file.
Yeah, sure. 1 second. So when you download your Insight Explorer 5.8 software from Cognex on their website, on your desktop, you're going to have in your program files, going to Cognex, Insight Explorer 5.8. You're going to go to factory protocol description, and that's going to bring in here where you have your EDS files, and you also have some RSlogix sample code. So the sample code is going to give you, make sure you got your UDTs in there, and it's also going to give you these 2 copy files already set up for you, which I think is pretty cool. And then an EDS here is going to have all your different EDS files. I just suggest just doing all of them. That way, so when you go offline here, what that's going to do is we'll clear filter. There we go. Sorry. A little rusty here. You'll see that inside of here, you can find all your different modules now. And so you just click on one. So we know, hey, we're using a 9000 series now. Click on there and this kind of walks you through and just set up everything you need to in here. Pretty straightforward on that. And if you don't see it, or if you need to get outside of the parameters a little bit, I've seen some pretty complex vision systems. You can actually do a generic Ethernet module, and Cognex has some really good information on that on their website. We won't get into that today because that takes a little bit of while of just figuring out what you need, and it's kind of specific to the program that you have. But hopefully that answers your question for you.
Yep. Also, we had another question come in on regarding the trigger. Is there a latency associated with a network trigger versus a discrete trigger?
I believe there is, yes. I don't know the exact timing on that, but yeah, a wired signal is always better. You can set up some bits here. So as you can see, I'm kind of doing a little bit of some delays in here and some debounces. So anytime you're going over Ethernet, you're going to get a little bit of a delay depending on the network.
Right.
But your triggers are pretty quick, as you can see the camera with the light coming on down below.
Okay. Another question that's come in is, how does the Cognex format output data map into the results array into the PLC? Do you see the offset in the Cognex camera?
I need some little bit of clarification on that. They're just asking how the data comes in or formatting wise.
Yeah. So when you set up in the Cognex Insight, when you format the output data, how does that map into the results array into the PLC? Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, let's get rid of this camera here so you can see a little bit more here. So this is how we format down below here. So as your different types, and that's your size that you're going to have. So you're going to see it's moving in 2s here. So when you go into the raw data of the camera, that's where you're actually taking all that raw data. So this is going to be your raw data here. And when we start the program, when our comms are okay, we're moving our raw data into this UDT value that we have here. So we come inside of this, we're actually going to see that it's just copying the raw data, but it's actually giving it a nice name. So inspection results. If you go to this actual monitor tag here, you start opening this guy up, you just got a bunch of data. So all we're really doing here is we're just kind of giving it a nice interface to say, this is where your inspection results are. We're always going to start at 8 for our first tool. And you'll see as it just moves in 2s as you come down. That's the way we set it up in here. Hope that answers that question.
All right. The second half of that question is, do you see the offset in the Cognex camera? That's just the way the question's worded. I can't clarify beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I guess maybe they mean that the offset of it starting at bit 8 and then kind of moving, 8 to 10 to 12, or you can see here as you move through just your different, how it's setting up your bits here. So there's your 0 to 8. So hopefully that helps out a little bit for you.
Okay. How does the offset show up in the Cognex SW menu?
That's a good, that's a little bit above my head here.
Okay.
Do you know what the SW menu is, Kale?
I do not. That's just the way the question was worded.
Okay. See, I'm sorry.
Okay. Clarify. Show up in the Cognex. How does the offset show up in the Cognex software? Software menu, it actually says. So,
yeah. I guess.
Hey, Jay, this question came in from Jay Cross. If you've got a mic, would you want to go ahead and just unmute it and ask your question straight out to Austin?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that helps me out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we sure can, Jay.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I was trying to keep it brief there in the chat. So what I meant was, I'm looking in the Cognex software menu down there where you're mapping, and now I understand it starts at word 8. But like, could you, like, let's just say I wanted to see where blob 3 pass fell into there. Do I just have to kind of see how many down that is, or is there somewhere in there that shows me like that's an offset 17 or whatever, so I don't have to go? Do I have to kind of make a spreadsheet to keep track of that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're correct. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep track of that a little bit. What you can see here is, so you got, see this 0, 1 I have right here. And then where 8 starts, you'll have your 1. And then we'll have, 1, 2, 3 zeros. So, 1, 2, 3 zeros. And then we'll start our 1. So it kind of does lay out here how it's moving 8 down. Yeah, ignore these. These were something I was playing with earlier. But so as you can see here, you're just moving down as we have there. Does that help answer that a little bit?
Right. So it's really the order that you put them, the way you entered them into that format output data window is the way they're going to show up, overlay into the PLC input.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That's really what I want to see, how to find them, once, because you could have several inspection results and obviously you want to get it right. So.
And I try to organize those pretty nice, so you could actually move them up and down too. So like, say you're like, oh man, I really need this to be here now. You can play with this a little bit, and move things up and down. Hope that helps.
Yeah, that answered it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions from anyone this morning? Either you can unmute and ask or send it in via the chat room.
And always feel free to reach out to. Try to keep it, pretty simple today, and it's also something I haven't played with in a while. It's my controls days here, but hopefully this helps you guys out too. Just kind of seeing an easy interface. There's different, tons of different ways to do this, buffering tags. Cognex has some really good stuff on their website though, so I highly recommend checking out their documents on Rockwell PLCs on the website.
All right. Well, I'm not having any other questions come in, and nobody else is unmuted at this point. So I think we're pretty much wrapped up. Austin, thanks so much for spending the time with us today and helping us understand this better. Thank you all for attending. We are going to be putting a copy of this. Whoop, question just came in. What other protocol does the Cognex camera support to send the file? So I'm assuming what's being asked is what other industrial protocols exist. I can kind of answer that one. There's over 80 native protocols available within the Cognex camera. So being able to talk not just via Ethernet IP, we have Profinet, we've got Modbus, we've got TCP/IP, there's serial communications. There are most of the major robot manufacturers' native protocol for KUKA and FANUC, Motoman, Yaskawa, and so forth. So all in all, there's over 80 native protocols available to you as a programmer within the camera to be able to turn on. They're all very similar in the way that you're formatting the input and output data. It is going to vary a little bit based off the protocol standards, but it's a very, very similar structure to what you see here. So now that you've seen this, it should apply very easily when you go to work with some of the other protocols.
And just while they're still on the screen here too, I can kind of show if it works with me here. So when we click add device here too, as Kayla was talking about, this is where you can come into and kind of see all your different PLC manufacturers and, you know, different robots you can do. And just others like Kayla was talking about. There's tons of other things you can do in here. Help figure that stuff out for you guys.
Yep. You'll also notice that like under device, you'll have an other category. So if there is a device that you're looking to talk to that's not on the list, you can set up the other and go through and declare what native protocol that you would like to have involved with it to be able to maybe send something to a servo drive or something like that.
And also, Kayla, is your Cognex video going to up on the YouTube channel here soon too? Did you do yesterday, or is that just a class?
I've been editing the videos associated with the class that we did yesterday. So yesterday was Introduction to Vision Programming using Cognex Easy Builder. I'm going to be starting to post those videos on our YouTube channel probably later on today or tomorrow. And then we've had another question just come in. Can we get the data directly to the Universal robots? Yes, we can output to Universal Robot. In order to do that, we would use a TCP/IP port communication structure. And we are going to be doing a dedicated webinar for that in just a few weeks. Another question that's just come in. What is the full form of EDS?
Like what does EDS mean?
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. Full form of EDS. If we're speaking specifically, you know, the EDS file is the file used with Allen Bradley for their Rockwell PLCs. As far as the full form, you know, each manufacturer has their own EDS file to set their equipment up to talk to the PLC structure.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what's being asked there. I'm going to wait and see if we get better clarification of the question.
Okay. Yeah, and EDS is the electronic data sheet. Like Kayla just said, you know, it's an easy way to help set up communication for your network. So back to that folder that I had, they set up these files just to be very specific to certain hardwares. So you'll see like the 7000, you know, 8000, 9000, or the Insight 2000. Just specifically setting up to cater to those to help you get your communications up quicker. Sometimes with a generic module, as some programmers know, it can be a pain in the butt sometimes, or it can be really cool. I love EDS files as a controls guy because that just makes my life way easier.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I haven't seen any more questions come in. So once again, Austin, thank you for the time. Thank you for sharing your information with us. I want to thank everyone for attending today. For those of you who would like to rewatch this or share it with someone in your organization, we will be posting this video to our YouTube channel in the next day or two. And if you are interested in other webinars that we've done over the last several weeks and the upcoming weeks, please check out our website, advancedcontrolinc.com. And if you've got a specific question for us, you can email us at info@acs-ga.com. We would love to hear from you and be able to help you any way we can. Thank you for attending, and we will talk at you later. Take care.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.